Okay, good evening. I'm going to call the regular meeting of the Zoning Commission to order, and we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Do we need to seat any alternates?
What's quorum? How many per quorum? I think 4. I think I'm the only alternate, so no.
So we're good. All right. So the first item on the agenda is the public hearing, application for general plans, petition to amend split B1A and R30 zone parcel to accommodate Plan Development District PDD number 25, 33 Burma Road, Southbury. It's map block and lot 5828-1, Mr. and Mrs. Bashir and Selma Selmani, site plan included. So,
Got a vote to open it.
oh, okay. We ready to open the public hearing? Going to have a vote on that? Got a second? Second. All right, everybody in favor? Aye. Anybody against? All right. So, good evening, Attorney McTaggart.
Good evening. For the record, I'm Gail McTaggart. I'm from the law firm of Secor Cassidy. I represent the applicants, the Selmanis, who are the owners of property at 33 Burma Road and at the intersection of Route 67. So it fronts on both pieces of property. It's about somewhat like a triangle. This property was before the Zoning Commission maybe over a year ago, and at that time, there was a slight change to the zoning boundary because the property is bisected as it is now with B1A commercial on the Route 67 side in Southwood and on the Burma Road residential side, R30. This PDD would put all of it into one zoning package, which would be PDD number 25. As I am instructed, it will be. So the regulation that you have is the text for PDD 25. There's a team of people that have worked with us on this, and we're going to have, some of those people are here tonight. And so I just wanted to go through and give you a quick introduction so you know who we are. And then I'm going to talk about what you should have before you. So Civil One Engineering has done the site plans on this application, and that's Megan Miller and Emily Jones. Also, the architect is Michael Bowie from Bowie Studio. We have a traffic engineer, and the traffic engineer and the architect are both here tonight to present. Traffic engineer is Brian Dempsey. Ian Cole did the wetlands evaluation. The wetlands approval is in place. I think, as you know, usually for a general plan, you don't need a wetlands approval, but for the detailed plans that will follow, you will need a wetlands approval. And we wanted to make sure that any changes that needed to be made for the wetlands approval would be incorporated. So we went ahead and did that application. So that application is already done, and there's an approval that should also be in your record. And then we have a surveyor, Daniel LeFerrer, that did the survey on the property. The property had very ancient legal descriptions. So when we did the zoning amendment, he completely did a complete new survey, A2 survey, and certified that, and that's the plan that we're using. So that's sort of the background information. What you should have is our zoning text. And as you know, under the Plan Development District, we're required to write a zoning text that applies to this piece of property. So it has a lot more detail than most applications because it provides all of the information that is needed for all the years after this, if it's approved, to be able to interpret what can happen on this piece of property. You also have a report. Section 12 of the zoning regulations requires a report The main part of that report is to look at consistency with the Plan of Conservation and Development and consistency with requirements of the zoning regulations, Section 12, which is the Plan Development District section. So that report, again, is very detailed. I'm not going to need to go through it. You have it. It's been on the public record. We submitted it along with the application. So it's been there for review.
Well, Attorney McTaggart, if I may, didn't you make a third revision?
Yeah, I'm getting there. Okay?
Okay,
Yeah.
because we're sort of looking around, it's like, we don't have that in front of us.
Okay, I understood it was sent out, but I have a whole bunch of copies of it. So one I just provided, it's very small, these are very minor revisions that are being made to plan titles and dates,
Okay.
very little substantive, but I understood it was sent. It was?
Does the commission want hard copies? Is that no, so-
I can provide hard copies. I'll do it.
Well, maybe I'm just old-fashioned, that's kind of,
It's okay, I know it was sent out by the office, but I'll give it to you.
So I have had a chance to review revision 3 against revision 2, and as Gail mentioned, these are very minor, more clerical things to fixes, ensuring that the text is comprehensive when it's referencing itself. I believe that the only addition on there was the provision that was added in the height regulation,
the
which
ornamental tower, you mean?
yeah, which allowed the chimneys to be excluded from that height calculation, and that is consistent with our regulations as well. So everything else in there, relatively minor, but if you guys have any questions, Gail or myself can help answer them.
Actually, it was not at the Planning Commission meeting, and we'll get there, but at the Planning Commission meeting, there was an interest in our proposal that would come in with the detailed plans, being able to provide an architectural tower or something like that that has been sort of characteristic of Southbury. Whether or not that works in Southford, whether this commission wants to see that, we wanted to make sure that if we wanted to do that, we wouldn't be beyond the height requirement, which was 35 feet under our regulation. Your own regulations right now generally allow architectural towers to be excluded from height. All we did was incorporate it to make clear, since this is a PDD, that that could also happen here. So that was the purpose of that. At the bottom, in the footnote, in each supplement, you can see that the changes are minor. All the changes are in italics in the regulation. So the first supplement was to allow administrative reviews for end users, which was a comment that was made by your planner, that he thought it would be worth doing. It's something that's been done in Heritage Village and in other locations where there's been a complete review after general plans, complete detailed plan review, going through 2 commissions. It was felt that if you have a tenant that's coming in, it shouldn't have to go through a public hearing process. It's not that there's no process. It's just that it's not a public hearing process. So that was done, and that was the first thing that we did. And then there was also a very good comment that was made by Jordan Mashenko about that we have residential uses as part of this PDD, and every time they wanted to put some posies in along a sidewalk, they shouldn't have to come in for a detailed plan amendment. So the routine kinds of landscaping that are typical for residential would be allowed without that. If they changed something on the plan that was significant on the plan, they still would have to come in, but this is to allow people to freely use their property without constant review where it's not necessary. We thought that was a really good suggestion, and so we added that. The other changes were, we're trying to get the name spelled right, my client's name spelled right on the plans, and I have to tell you that we did get it spelled right in the document, and the plans we have tonight still have some problems, and we're going to have to provide another set of plans with Selmani spelled correctly. So we're working on it. And then the height requirement. So those are the only changes. They're really very minor changes. So I was just going to say what you should have. So you should have that. You should have the report that we put in. You have general plans. This is not a detailed plan application. It's a general plan application. The clients have been working on the detailed plans, and they will follow. But at this point, we're setting general guidelines for what the detailed plans should have in them. And we have also a planning commission referral and report that needs to be put on the record, and I assume it's here somewhere tonight at this hearing, because the statute requires that for zoning amendments. So we have that, and we have a positive review from the planning commission. And I think I will tell you there were 2 comments that I will share. One of them is that they would like us to somehow either on our general plans or as required for the detailed plans, to require if stone walls are taken down on the property, that material be relocated and put into the landscape when that happens. And we agreed that we would do that. So that was one of the comments that was made, and it was a good comment. And it's something that we would like to work out. And if your commission wants to see that, we're willing to do that. So I'm going to start by asking our engineering group to come and show you the plans, show you where the property is located, and what we propose. Megan?
Good evening. Megan Miller, project manager with Civil One. As Gail said, I'll just go over what this property is, what it is currently, and then our general plan. And as Gail has said, that all of these things, especially when we're talking about engineering, are typically shown on that much more detailed plan. But I will go through it and just show that we have shown that this property can support this development that we are showing. So the existing property is 8.97 acres. It's currently wooded with wetland area on the eastern portion of the property. And it's gradually graded from pretty much from the corner of Burma Road. As you go, always bring this with me. Point to the map, right? There we go. So this is our existing survey. There's a high point located right here where only a small part of the property goes towards the intersection of Burma Road and South.
Can we see it too?
Yep.
Or is that just for the committee?
Here, Megan, let me,
Prefer. Okay. Yeah, that works. Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. So again, there's a high point located. I'll go over this way so I'm not blocking the entire audience here. High point located right here, where just a small part of the property slopes towards the intersection of Burma Road and 67. And then the rest of the property goes from to this wetland area. As you can see, this is a wetland area, and we have a couple existing culverts from Burma Road that discharge onto our property, and then water typically just goes towards the north and then into an existing culvert that then goes across to.
Will you point out where the culvert is?
Excuse me.
Yeah. Not at this time. We can make comments later, and any questions you can ask. With the map, Tom? Yep, thank you.
So that is the existing property, and as you can see, this dashed gray line is the zone boundary line between the different zones that we currently have on our property, R30 and B1A. So we have a proposed general plan here. There you go. No, I'm really okay. It's my own fault for carrying this entire thing. Here.
I'll hold it for you.
Oh, no, please. Got it. Thank you, guys. I feel so well taken care of. Thank you, everyone. So this is we're proposing a mixed use, approximately 1,000 square feet footprint that would have retail on the bottom and then residential on the top. And that would be accessed by a single driveway off of Southford Road. So keeping commercial development accessed by the commercial road. And then we have proposed residential, which we are calling the residences, that are 2 duplexes and then a single-family home and what we're calling a modified detached accessory unit, or an MDAU. On top of the proposed commercial property, we have 10 residential units, 8 one-bedroom and 2 two-bedrooms, so a total of 12 bedrooms. And then the duplexes each have 2 bedrooms each, so a total of 8 bedrooms. And then the single-family home is 4 bedrooms, and the MDAU is a 2-bedroom unit. So in total, we have 16 units for a total of 8.97 acres, or about 1.87 units per acre. For total parking spaces over here, we have a total of 71 spaces. 69 are to be built, 2 are going to be deferred. So that allows for, again, additional landscaping, more green space. And then if there were a time when those parking spaces would be needed, we could build them. But that would be consistent with the current zoning regulations for the parking requirement for both commercial and residential. So that's 1 space per every 2,000 square feet of commercial space, total of 56, or residential, 1.5 spaces per unit. And now, just to remind everyone that these are typically mostly 1-bedrooms, so we're not going to expect, there are going to be some that have 2 people occupying them, there's going to be some that have 1. In the duplexes, of course, we have garages, so we have garage 1 per unit, and then we have plenty of 2 outdoor spaces, as well as turning around space. Same thing with the single-family home, there's a garage, and the MDAU does not have a garage, but it has parking spaces. We have a landscaping plan will be prepared for this property when we go into the detailed plans. We have a draft one. I would call it robust, meaning that it's robust in the quantity and diversity of plants. That would include in this 40-foot buffer, along with ornamental plants around this commercial development, including like a row of arborvitae to provide a buffer between the parking area and the residential use on Burma Road. In total, we have 92 trees, 40 shrubs, and 96 perennials. So that's when we're using the word robust. It's quite a lot for just the commercial. And then, of course, we'll have residential landscaping, which would be typical of the residential uses. And we can also show you a rendering in the future for what we kind of think this will be looking at like. For utilities, this system is, this property will have septic systems. So we will have 4 septic systems with a geomatrix or green leach. Those are proprietary septic systems. It was reviewed by the Housatonic Valley Health District. It is currently under review by Department of Public Health. I had a conversation with them yesterday. I would expect formal comments back next week, but they're still going through their extensive review. And of course, we'll make sure that we meet all their requirements. So each building is served by a septic system. The commercial property is down here, and then the duplexes are served by these 2 septic systems. And then this property where we're saying it's building site 4, which is the single-family home, we have 1 septic system for both the single-family home and the MDAU. This property is going to be served by wells. We do not have access to public water. And because of the amount of people that will be occupying this, we have to go through what is called a public water company. So it serves both mixed use and those duplex systems, and then a separate well will be for the single-family home and the MDAU. I can go into very much in depth about the review process of this well system. I'll say, and I am prepared to do that, to keep it a little brief, the property needs to be reviewed by the Department of Public Health. And there's a multiple step process, both pre-construction, design, and then post-construction. So that includes monitoring of wells in our area surrounding us. It monitors quantity and quality of the water. And ultimately, the state of Connecticut's not going to approve a well system for our property that would have an adverse effect on the neighboring adjacent properties. I can go much more into depth if there's any commission questions or from the public. We also have stormwater systems for this entire property. We are reducing the stormwater rates for the 10, 25, and 50 years, which is consistent with your regulations. So we designed that for net attenuation, meaning that no water is going to be increasing off of the site due to this development. So what we do is we look at this entire property, which is a woods-grass combination, forested. We model that as it is today. And then we model it with this new impervious area, these parking lots, these buildings. And how do we slow down the water leaving the site? Well, we design stormwater systems. So we have designed underground stormwater systems where we direct the water from the parking lots through catch basins or direct the roof leader drains into this underground system where it is slowed down, infiltrates into the soil, and then gets back into that soil and then goes out. Any excess water from larger storm events, we've designed outlet structures. So that's, again, keeping the water, but we're reducing it based on what there is today. So all that water comes into these systems that are located on each of these properties. So over here, they're right here. There's one underneath this text right here, and then the commercial property is under here. We also have water quality, so by collecting and then treating, by having it kind of sit, we are treating it for this water quality volume, which is consistent with the Connecticut Stormwater Manual. We also have what we call a hydrodynamic separator for the commercial property, where typically you might see larger amounts of oils or sediments because of it being a parking lot. So there's additional treatment of stormwater before it even gets to that underground stormwater system. So the water is cleaned, slowed down, and then released back into the property to, again, making sure that we're not increasing that rate of runoff. This being a general plan, we're not showing it here, but as part of the record, you do have an engineering report that shows all of our designs. And also, again, this has been reviewed and approved by wetlands, and they have seen the detailed plans. Also talking about wetlands, we do have a report prepared by our wetland scientist, Ian Cole, indicating that there is no adverse effects for the development. That has been submitted on the record and was reviewed and approved by the Wetlands Commission. I will also then bring up our traffic engineer, and I'll be available for questions from the commission and the public. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Brian Dempsey. I'm a licensed professional engineer as well as a certified professional traffic operations engineer and a certified roadway safety professional from the firm DTS Provident Design Engineering. We conducted a traffic study earlier this year, we did perform traffic counts at the intersection of Route 67 and Burma Road, as well as the two signalized intersections with Route 188 and Route 67, both the northern end and the southern end. We then looked at crash data that we obtained from the Connecticut Department of Transportation. The Connecticut DOT also provided a growth rate and such for us to use to project the traffic volumes out to a future year. We then did analysis with and without the project, and also with and without cul-de-sacing Burma Road. So with that, the site would generate, so the Burma Road section of the project would generate about 3 vehicles in the morning peak hour, say 7:30, 8:30, 4 vehicles in the PM peak hour, so your peak rush hour, and another 3 vehicles on a Saturday. We also looked at the Saturday peak hour condition. On the Route 67 portion, where there's the one driveway, in the morning, there'd be about 28 vehicles coming in, 31 vehicles exiting, 43 coming in, 39 coming out during the PM peak hour. And in the Saturday peak hour, midday, because you have the retail there, of about 45 coming in, 43 coming out. This data was well reviewed by town staff. They agree with the findings in that. We then analyzed the conditions, as I said, with and without cul-de-sacing it, and with and without the project. What the findings showed in the traffic study was the level of service will not change with or without the project. It stays, well, the Route 67 Burma Road intersection would stay at level service A. The Burma Road portion would be a B or a level service B or C, with or without the project, and that's not including the cul-de-sac. The other 2 signalized intersections overall would also operate at level service B and C, and there would be no change in level of service with or without the project and with or without the cul-de-sac. Just for information purposes, in the morning you have 47 vehicles coming off of Burma Road to turn left onto 67. It's 17 in the PM, it's not as much, and Saturday there was 19 in the peak hour. And then, because there was the issue with cut-throughs in there, so we looked at that, and then coming from Route 67 onto Burma Road, you had 50 turning right in the morning peak hour, 50 also turning right in the PM peak hour, and then on Saturday, and 57 that went through. There's minimal traffic turning right off of Burma or left in the Burma or coming across from the driveway across the street. We looked at crash data there. The intersection at 67 Burma Road had 5 crashes over a 5-year period based on the data we received from Connecticut DOT. They're all different type crashes. There was no real pattern. But I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
So Gail, have we heard from everyone on your team, or do we want to move to architecture real quick?
Let me, for a moment, Gail McTaggart again for the record. So could you state what your conclusion is after looking at this? And also, there is a concern about on Burma Road that the driveways that are there can work without sightline issues.
Yes, we looked at the sight lines with the site engineer also. All the driveways have proper sight lines, meet the proper requirements. There will be one driveway on 67. The Connecticut DOT prefers, and I know there's a town ordinance of trying to limit the amount of driveways on state highways and on other roads, so there's only the one driveway coming out. It still operates at good level of service. It has proper sight lines, as does the driveways on Burma Road. Our findings is we show that there's no impact from this project traffic-wise from either side, and also cul-de-sacing the road will not have a impact on the operating conditions in the area, aside from it would limit the traffic that's on Burma Road. But we did look at the diversions from that, and even with those diversions, it does not impact the 2 signalized intersections.
And I might, again, Gail McTaggart, I may add one more thing. We didn't talk about it very much, but this plan incorporates an area that's reserved for the town to acquire what he is calling the cul-de-sac. Okay, so the cul-de-sac is this area that I'm pointing to that's up right at the corner of Southford Road and Burma Road, and there's an area that is 9,978 or 79 square feet there that has been reviewed. We have engineers that are going to talk about that more, but we were requested if we would be willing to provide that. We spent a lot of time in design, months in design, trying to figure out how to do that and still work the parking for the commercial building, make everything work. We came up with a design that we thought did work. It was reviewed by the town, and I know Mark Lancor from Dymar is here perhaps to answer questions about it. But we did explain to our clients that if the town were to later on go in and do a taking of the property, they would get paid for that, usually, because an eminent domain proceeding requires payment. We asked if they'd be willing, if we could work out an arrangement here that helps the Burma Road situation, if they would be willing to if the town decides to take it, to grant it to the town. I'm talking about no dollars, okay? We said we would do it, but we needed to get the plan right now worked in, so there's not a surprise coming later to find out where it is, how it works, what the impact is on the commercial use of the commercial side of the property. So our traffic engineer has reviewed that also in terms of how that impacts with and without it. So we have a positive report also on that. But the area is clearly showed on the plans, and we'll be talking more about it with the engineering staff. But I just wanted to make sure that when you're talking about cul-de-sac, it looks like a cul-de-sac because it could operate like one. It also has been designed so that if there were a T intersection there, which is what your plan of conservation and development looks at, that could work also. So it's, we're making that area available. It also worked well because that area is kind of where the point comes between the two roadsides. So it was an area where, for setbacks and other reasons, we probably wouldn't have had buildings. But we just needed to make sure that we could make that all work on the commercial side in terms of entrances and exits. And I guess the answer is that it does.
It does, yes.
Can somebody explain to me what else happens with that cul-de-sac? Is that gonna cut off the intersection at one end or the other? If it, I mean, I know it's a potential plan, but so say that implements, does that mean that the intersection at the corner of Burma and 67 is closed and there's only one way into Burma Road from the, is that what happened? So they closed it off down there? Okay, I didn't realize.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. So at the intersection of 67 and Burma Road, that would be closed off to become a cul-de-sac, so that it would be,
Yeah, so Megan
Got it.
Miller, for the record. Thank you, always. So based on our discussions with the town, that speeding and traffic on Burma Road was a concern to the town. We met with them and then decided our project can accommodate and not impede any future work for the town if they choose to cul-de-sac that Burma Road. So that would be a dead-end road, and they would have their access off of Quaker Farms Road over here. And again, Brian looked into the analysis to make sure it works. Thank you.
You're all set? Yeah. So Gail, if you want to just, I think, move on to architecture, and then I think
Well-
the natural course would be to have Mark.
If I may, if we could have Mark Lancor come up at this time.
You want to do it now?
Yes.
Excellent.
Gail McTaggart, yes, I think it's a good idea to hear from Mark.
So what I want the commission to just understand, as well as the audience, Mark Lancor was hired by the town to engineer and design a potential area where a cul-de-sac could be accommodated on this site because we were a little encroached and we were taking an existing road and needing to accommodate all the necessary turning radiuses for emergency apparatus. Mark Lancor designed this on behalf of the town. The town then brought that information to the applicant, who has then incorporated it as part of the plan. Mark is here to really address any questions specific to the design and engineering of the cul-de-sac. This is not a meeting as far as the public's concerned of whether or not we are closing Burma Road today. This is just a discussion on the specific design. And I want to respect Mark's time here today, so if the commission after this wants to ask any questions specific to the design of the cul-de-sac, we can also open it up to the public for any comments specific to the design of the cul-de-sac, and then we can move on with the rest of the application thus.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, Jordan. I don't know if I needed to say anything. I think you did a great job. So, for the public, my name's Mark Lankor. I'm the principal engineer here with Dymar here in Southbury. And as Jordan put it, made note of it, we were retained to look at options, working at that time when the applicant was in early stages of this project in terms of its procedure of going through the PDD process. So as a design, this is not a typical cul-de-sac design. If you take a look at the typical cul-de-sac design in Southbury, it's a 100-foot circle, okay? That would not fit on the property. And so Jordan came to us, requested that we would look at options. And we have developed in the past, is what they call a teardrop. And it's a specific type of geometry that we have several locations around the state that we've used them as options, specifically in Woodbury. And the geometry is unique to look at how, most importantly, is emergency vehicles to be able to use that cul-de-sac without encroaching. And there's specific geometry to do that. And in the process, Jordan had the fire department here actually connect with Woodbury and go and test their own vehicles on the teardrop cul-de-sac. And Jordan came back and said, it works. So that was then the precept to being able to then meet with the applicant and the town to present that option. And, you know, and we supplied the geometry to the applicant so that they could incorporate that as an option here. And I point out again that this is not, that's a dedicated area. As Gail's put it and Jordan put it, it's a dedicated area, so in the event that the town move forward to close off Irma and being able to provide that cul-de-sac, they have the room to do it. And there's other options that can happen with it. All the cul-de-sacs that we have, they actually have a center island in it that is a planted island. It's just because the geometry allows that to happen. So that option is here, and I think the applicant has done the right job in terms of showing and demonstrating that it can fit. So, any questions? I'm here to answer them.
So Gary, let's open it up to the commission first, and then we'll absolutely open it up to the public. We'll have everyone come up to the podium, state your name in it, and we'll have you answer your questions.
I have one question.
Sure.
From the edge of the cul-de-sac to 67, how much space would there be?
Well, it's to the property line, so when you look at it from, and I'm just speculating, not speculating, but I'm trying to evaluate here. Okay, you got 50 scale drawing. It looks like you've probably to the edge of the road, I say the pavement, it looks like to be somewhere around 30 feet.
Okay.
I didn't bring
Nice.
a ruler and everything.
1 centimeter.
25 feet.
Wow. Okay.
I could have used my finger. I usually do that like this, so it's okay. So.
All right. And what about like snow removal? Would that be an issue? Or
No, because you're gonna, there'll be plenty of area, they've got area allocated in that area that you could have piled snow on the edge, and there's plenty of area around the cul-de-sac here,
Okay.
even where the existing road is. That would be obviously terminating grass and that sort of thing, so they'll have plenty of room to do for snow removal.
And Frank, in addition to that, Department of Public Works, as well as the Police Department, have reviewed these in addition to the fire apparatus access, and none of the three departments had any issues with the design.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So this might be way too soon for this, but what would be between the cul-de-sac and 67 there?
would they plant trees or,
That would be a decision by the town,
yeah,
because the town's the one that would have to incorporate this.
okay. One thing that I'm just thinking about as I try to envision it one day is it coming across as though we just cut a road off, right? The look of it as you're driving through 67 and then you just see like a road that used to be there purposely cut off, how that would look aesthetically with the rest of this area of the town. So not specifically
That's
to
where,
you.
that's where you get into streetscape,
Yeah,
dressing things up and, you know, how, so it looks like natural and incorporated. And, I mean, that's another discussion another day.
okay.
So for the installation of the cul-de-sac that you have in mind and you've measured out and you've got there, is there a buffer or an area around that needs to be included, or is that as far as it needs to go?
That's as far as it needs to go. Anything beyond that would be grass, landscaped, or whatever for the relationship between the cul-de-sac and the state system. And the relationship to the, obviously, to the adjoining properties, which is incorporated that none of that those properties would not be impacted by the creation of this cul-de-sac.
It's entirely on the applicant's property,
Right. Or it's in the town right away as well.
either one,
Yep.
between those two, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Thank you. So
Thank you.
I believe there was a question from the audience.
Yeah, so if no more questions from the commission, Mark, you might as well just take a seat for now, and then any questions from the audience specific to the engineering and design of the cul-de-sac, we can receive those now. But if there's a number of questions you want to ask, I would say that you hold off on the additional questions until we've moved past the designated cul-de-sac area, but specific questions to that, we can receive you at the podium, state your name and your address and what you have to ask the engineer. So Mark, they'll come up to the podium.
Yep.
So with that said, does the public
But
have
this
any
time-
questions for the engineer?
Please
Wonderful.
come up to the,
So please come up to the podium, state your name and your address. Just about the cul-de-sac, Gary. Because we'll jump into everything else afterwards, but I want to respect Mark's time because he's on the town's dime right now, and I want to get him out of here if he's not required to stick around. Okay, but we have someone who stood up before you, so we'll give her the time.
Hi, I'm Alice Devoid,
That's great, yeah.
I know I'm short. I'm Alice Devoid. I live at 173 Burma Road. I'm the first house that was ever put on Burma Road. My question is, on the cul-de-sac, we have a 40-foot trailer and a pickup truck. Is that going to make it around, I'm thinking 52 feet? And if you put an island by the cul-de-sac, we're going to be running over it to make that turn. And it'll come up here and the cul-de-sac will go in like this. So with the truck, it will have to go the opposite way? Because we need to come down Burma Road to back in our driveway with the trailer. We can't come up Burma Road and back in, which I know you said cul-de-sac, but on the other end, there's a telephone pole. Are we going to be able to make that turn? Will school buses make that turn? Oil trucks, delivery trucks? Because there's that telephone pole. Is that going to be widened? And the sight line coming out of Burma Road, will that be fixed at the same time? Those are my questions.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I can answer that question. So first, any design is, this is conceptual planning. When you get into the final details, whether you have to move a pole or how it's going to work, whether they're going to put an island in or not, that all comes down to those decisions later when they look at the design and the fine details of how it's going to work with each of the property owners. But I will tell you from a geometric standpoint, it takes care of what we call a WB75 vehicle. That's the largest vehicle that you will find on the road. It takes care of every single one of the large vehicles here in town in terms of their ladder trucks. So if you're talking about a trailer, that is not an issue, okay? And then, like I said, whether there's an island or not, that's all later on. They don't, this is shown right now without an island in it, that sort of thing. They just want to make sure the geometry works. And all those decisions come when you come to final design. Okay?
Correct. Thanks, Gary. Oh, I'm sure.
Whoa, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Hi, sorry if I speak loud. I'm deaf, really. I have no hearing in my left ear, so if I sound loud to everybody, that's me. I'm sorry, I can't judge myself. The cul-de-sac.
Can you just say your name?
Are we gonna have emergency
Can you just give us
gate-
your name, please?
I'm sorry. My name is Gary Diamond. I live at 128 Burma Road since 1971. Now,
Thank you.
back then, there was no traffic. Traffic wasn't a problem. We didn't have to worry about it. Zero traffic. Alice will tell you, and most of the people here. Now, since I couldn't hear you, are we going to have a way that emergency vehicles such as ambulances and fire will be able to open up a gate to be able to go through the cul-de-sac, be able to get to us, or will they have to go all the way around? Because myself, I've used an ambulance 4 times. I know my neighbors had to use ambulances lately. We're all getting up in age. I'll be 85 in Halloween, so who knows? Maybe I'll need an ambulance for myself. So will that be part of the cul-de-sac, an emergency gate that the fire department and an ambulance could open up, yes or no?
Next question, Gary, and we'll address all of them.
Give me all your questions, I'll be able to answer them all
We'll
at the
address
same
all of
time.
them. Yep. So go to your next question.
Okay.
You'll get an answer.
Huh?
You'll get an answer.
Okay, all right. So we could talk about everything else later, right?
Okay, is that your only question pertaining to
No,
the
I have a
cul-de-sac?
whole bunch of questions.
Pertaining to the cul-de-sac?
No.
It's not your only question pertaining to the cul-de-sac?
No, I have a lot of questions and statements, but they're not pertaining to the cul-de-sac.
Okay, so we have your question pertaining to the cul-de-sac. Our engineer will answer that one, and we'll address your questions pertaining to the rest of the project later on, okay?
Okay,
All
very
right,
good.
thank you.
Okay, Thank you.
One more question?
I'm going to answer the question first, and then, so again, regarding whether there's an emergency gate, that's always an option. We've done that many times on other projects, but that, again, is final design when that comes forward. If it's something that the residents and the town feel it's extremely needed for that emergency purpose, I'm sure it can be accommodated. We've done many a times before, but that's strictly up to the final design when that comes, when the town decides to implement this.
Do you mind if I cut in real quick?
Just to assist with that
Yeah,
question.
just to
Yep.
assist. Again, Megan Miller, engineer for the applicant. We did meet with the fire marshal, I'm sorry, the fire marshal? Fire marshal. We all have different names in different towns. I met with the fire marshal to make sure that our project isn't impeding access. So if that were to be a thing, if the town did decide to have emergency-only access from 67 onto Burma Road, that again, the only route, the best route would be from the state and town right-of-way, and not from our property. So we did want to make sure, again, that our project wasn't going to impede any sort of emergency access if this happens. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. How we doing?
Very good. Hello. John Sears, 58 Burma Road. It sounds like you covered all the bases. When you build a cul-de-sac right there, you gonna take down those beautiful old stone walls that have been there for 300 years? All that's gonna have to be disturbed. And although it will simplify the traffic on Burma Road, I don't think there's anybody here that wouldn't agree that it's better to be able to go out both ways. It's just better for all things. When we had the tornado come through, all the branches and wires down on Burma Road, well, they couldn't get through the other way with a fire truck or anything. If they had to come through, you had to go around the other. So it's just better to be able to go through both sides. And it is, once they get going, it is kind of nice to see. I've been looking at those stone walls for a long time, and it's kind of a nice thing, boy. You don't see a stone wall like that around in Southbury very much, not like that. So, well, that's all I got to say about that.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, Mr. Sayers.
Sure.
Again, this was, and let's just fold back to why this happened. Town has always looks forward. When you have an applicant come forward, they're looking at all options. The great thing about this is that the town has full options going forward. Whether it ever happens or not, we don't know. But now that it's been studied, it's there, it's in the grand scheme of things that potentially could happen, and whether it does, it's really strictly up to the town at that point in time. So, I think that the applicant has done what it was asked to do. We've done what was asked to do on behalf of the town, and now the town has all those options available. It basically, I say, looking at it, is that they've got another tool in their toolbox. And that's what you really want when you're doing planning, so.
Thank you, Mark. Are there any other residents that have questions specific for the engineer procured by the town, specific to the design of the future area that could be deeded as a cul-de-sac? All right, let the record show there's no other comments from the audience regarding this topic. Mark, thank you for your time. I
Thank you,
really
Mr.
appreciate you
Lancourt.
coming out. Yeah, you can stand on that side too if you want. That's perfect, no worries.
Basically what we have here, my name is Mike Bowe. I'm an architect based out of Torrington, Connecticut. I've been in practice in Connecticut for 25 years. I've done homeless shelters to YMCAs to Joan Rivers House and other high-end homes for people from New York. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to create something here that's going to be fitting to the community and keep within traditional materials, keep within traditional Connecticut vernacular. And what we basically have come up with is, you can see from the aerial shot here, maybe I'll stand back over here. The aerial shot, this is Burma Road right here. This is our commercial residential, commercial on the first floor. Everything is pushed towards the street by the zoning regulations. We've created down Burma Road duplexes, and then basically the single family home and the MDAU. At that part of the site, everything drops towards 67. So all of these buildings have the duplexes are slab on grade, but the single family home and the MDU home, or MDAU, have a walkout basement at the back side. And we're looking at using hardy board, the smooth finish, which is a composite material. It's quite commonly used in Connecticut everywhere. An asphalt shingle roof, again, which is quite commonly used. And we're using stone, being that the owner is basically a stonemason. This is a company that does a lot of work in Fairfield County. We're looking at using different color at the bottom and then a lighter color to the top. We've popped out at the ends of the building. Again, some smaller dormers in the front and then a major dormer in the middle to break up the roof. It's not a straight line. It's pushed back and forth. At the dormers, we're coming out 2 feet. You can see that in those areas. This would be facing the street. This would be facing the corner where Burma Road's at. When we designed the duplexes, basically what we tried to do is to keep the scale of the duplex down by doing over the garage as a single-story roof with dormers punching up through to the second floor with the main roof running across the top. And there's 2-car garages.
Two single-car garages?
No,
Or
two-car, two 2-car garages. Each unit has 2-car garage. Then the MDU, we kept more of a traditional salt blocks with a 2-car garage with a little entryway projecting out from the front. And then the single family, which is here, it's 2-story, a walkout basement. The MDAU is a 1-story building with a walkout basement. Again, we've extended the front out a little bit and tried to keep everything down lower. And that's kind of as the hill drops away. Again, we're using the hardy board, and probably on these units, we would use just the 4-inch exposure. But because of the size of the other unit, it just makes sense to use the 6-inch.
Wait, sorry, can you just explain to me that you're using hardy board?
What's that?
You said you're using hardy board?
Yes.
Okay, remind me, because I thought hardy board was just like a concrete board that goes on the inside.
What's that?
I
No,
thought hardy board was more just a cement board for the inside of
it's
the
an
house.
exterior board. It's the actual paint warranty on it is 20 years.
Okay.
They're pre-finished, and that's what we'd be using.
So will that look like siding then?
Yeah, it looks like clapboard siding.
Okay, okay. Thanks.
And basically I'll go back to the, this one here. Whoops. We will have a horizontal band that runs around above the entrance doors here for signage. The building itself, as they're laid out, there's a stairwell on this end of the building. This is the side facing towards Burma Road. We have an elevator there. These are the potential stores, which could be, somebody could come in and take 2 of these spaces or 3 of these spaces or one of them. It's set up so that we'd have entrances here. We're using a 4-panel door. It looks more, not so commercial. It's 4 lights. Then upstairs, we have a center corridor that runs down through the building with the apartments off of it. We've recessed all the entryways into the apartments. And again, that elevator comes up here, and our secondary egress is here. There's also a stairwell here. And those are the elevations. And then in the look at this. In the duplexes, this is where our garage is at, and there would be a stone wall out in front in that area, and a stone wall that comes back in to kind of give entrance privacy to the people that are occupying the 2 spaces. Living room on the first floor, and kitchen area and bathroom. Then upstairs, a master bedroom and an office and a bedroom here and bathroom and bathroom. And these are where those garages are, again, to break up the elevation, the height of it. There's 2 of these buildings, so we've we've got them all in here. And this is the back of the building. It's a walkout patio here and patio here, an elevated deck off the second floor after the master bedroom. And then the single-family house would also have a patio at the back, a kitchen in here. There was some concern about this kitchen on this floor here. We don't, not in this unit, but in the other unit. This is kind of for entertaining and stuff, basically, if they're doing stuff in the back patio, so you're not running up and down the stairs. We've got basically utility rooms in the front and storage. Then on the first floor, we have living room, a dining room, a foyer, an office, a kitchen area, and the deck patio. Then at the second floor, we have the master bedroom with suite with 1, 2, 3 bedrooms. So there's a total of 4 bedrooms. Secondary bathroom off the stairs, which opens up into a hallway upstairs. The front elevation, the side elevation. This is the side elevation that faced towards the side elevation that faced towards the MDAU unit. This is the rear elevation again. It's garage in here, lower level in here, the deck that goes out with the patio door there, and the deck above. Then the MDAU has a walkout basement at the back, so there's a patio here, living area here. This kitchen we would take out. There was some concern about this. We have no problem taking that out if it's your desire. And on the first floor, we have basically entry, a living area, dining area, kitchen, and 2 bedrooms. So that kind of concludes what we've got going on there. Does anybody have any questions?
So thank you. So the unit that's designated the MDAU,
Right.
that has been presented initially, and until you just said it, that there would be a kitchen on the first floor,
On the lower level.
lower level, with the walkout.
Right.
Right. So now you're indicating that that's not the plan.
We would be willing to give that up if it's your desire.
Well, it looks an awful lot like a living unit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It kind of walks like a duck, right? And talks like a duck.
So we had a discussion about it today because in our zoning regulation, we had limited it to 1,200 square feet floor area, which was main floor. And I guess we didn't pay attention to the fact that it was a walkout and therefore would be larger than that. We're going to revise that and stay with the 1,200 square feet. So one of the things we're going to have to do is to work on that.
Okay, thank you.
I talked to the clients, they have no, they don't care if there's nothing down there in the basement area. The fact that it's walkout means we have to look at it because we're not looking at living space, we're looking at 1,200 square feet of gross floor area. So we're going to have to work on it. But our regulation is unchanged. The regulation set it to be smaller than the main house, the single-family house. The single-family house under the regulation has, between the single-family house and the MDAU, there can not be more than 6 bedrooms. So if you put 5 bedrooms in the single-family house, there can be 1 in the MDAU. If there's 2 in the MDAU, there can only be 4 bedrooms in the main house. There's a lot of detail here, but detailed plans come later. But we have to show feasibility and give you an idea on a PDD what we're going to do So that's what we're doing. So we are going to ask that this public hearing stay open and continued. We have a couple of things we need to respond to that have come from your staff.
I think we're agreeable to that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we need to do that. But I just wanted to be clear that we understand, it was a really good point that was raised regarding the MDAU. I have a lot to say about the MDAU that has to do with the legal part of it, but this is the planning part of it.
Okay, fair.
One other thing to point out is there's only a half bath now. There's a sink and a toilet.
Well, with all due respect, you say half bath, somebody comes in and hey, make it a little bigger, and all of a sudden you've got a spa down there.
You're saying the kitchen would be removed from the MDAU entirely? Okay.
On the lower level.
What about the upper level?
The kitchen would remain on the upper level.
So there were two kitchens.
Oh, there'd be just one kitchen.
They're just moving the kitchen upstairs is what
There
you're
is a
saying.
kitchen upstairs.
Oh,
There's two
Again,
presented.
two right now.
As presented,
Okay.
but orally
So
saying,
then
you
it's
know,
still, looks like a duck, sounds like a duck at that
Right,
point? Okay.
But they're changing it.
Yeah, no, we'll revise that.
We'll keep an eye on
Less
it.
feather, yeah.
The MDAU and the single-family home is going to share sewage or septic field in a well, is that's correct? I think I read that, I just want to make sure that's accurate.
Yes, Megan. We call it a centralized system, so that's one septic system that serves the single-family home and the MDAU.
Any other questions?
There's someone in the audience, I don't know if any more commission questions?
Sure.
All right, there seems to be a lady in the audience.
Yeah, come right up here, Vivian. State your name and address.
Hi, I'm Vivian Michaels on 164 Burma Road. Can someone please clarify exactly what is an MDAU and what are the requirements of an MDAU? It almost looks like it's a whole other home. And an MDAU can be a home?
Well, if I may.
Yeah.
Before Attorney McTaggart gives the exact definition. The ADU is currently an allowed scenario
Okay.
anywhere in town.
No, but what does it
So-
mean?
so it
How
means
is it
that
different than a
it's an-
single-family home?
It's a unit that, in the overall regs, is someone who lives there in the main house is able to have a second living unit as long as they're living there, and it's sort of like an in-law thing, is the idea. Now, this idea that they've presented is a little different. This house, while connected physically and location-wise is close, their suggestion or their proposal inside their PDD is that the owner need not be the resident and that the other person or party in the MDAU need not be a family member or need not be in a similar scenario as the traditional ADU. So it is a modified scenario, and I'm sure Attorney McTaggart
So
will.
it sounds to me,
More
it's like
exact.
trying to squeeze in another home on this little piece of property. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, I'll let Attorney McTaggart speak to that. I gave what I thought was as close as I could get.
Oh, okay, and the other thing I'd like to say, I really do appreciate the time and effort that this company put into making it look aesthetically pleasing. I think it's wonderful that you're making it look aesthetically pleasing, but we have a lot of concerns, a lot bigger, more serious concerns than aesthetically pleasing buildings, and I have a feeling we're not going to get to them tonight. So, anyway, that's all I'd like to say.
Thank you, Ms. Michaels. And Attorney McTaggart, if I left something out in that explanation, please.
Our legislature, in all their wisdom, passed a state statute that required every town to allow ADUs, and they're a defined term under the state statute. There's some limitations on the state statute. Towns have a right to change that a little bit. Some of the towns that I've represented have different rules for ADUs. But an ADU basically is an accessory dwelling unit. It's on a piece of property. If you have a lot in Southbury, like I do, I can, out of right, without a public hearing, put an ADU in there. I have to be able to connect to the septic system, make that work, and do those things. And there's a set number of square feet. Southbury has a regulation for ADU that goes, in my view, beyond the state statute. The state statute does not require that it be a mother-in-law relative that lives in the accessory unit. It can be detached. The state statute allows it to be detached or part of a main unit. It could be either way. It was really part of the push in Connecticut to provide more diversity of housing and to provide more small units that people could live in that weren't as expensive as a single-family house. So communities like Southbury and all the communities in our state ended up with this. The legislature defined what it meant by as of right. It meant no public hearings. You come in, you show that you can put this on your piece of property. It gets to defy setbacks. It gets to defy all kinds of regulations. Usually they're limited to, they could be 1,000 square feet. They could be a percentage of the main primary dwelling, but they are connected to a primary dwelling. So if I have to have a house first, then I can put up an ADU, and the ADU can be related to it. The Southbury regulations require that the owner live in one of those buildings. That is not a state statutory requirement. They require that it have a shared driveway. That is not a requirement of the state statute. The Southbury regulations require that it can't be part of a Common Interest Ownership Act community. That is not a requirement of the state statute. We looked at it. We were not creating an ADU. We were creating something that we wanted connected to the single-family house, shared septic, to allow another family, another individual, because it's probably going to be an individual if it's one-bedroom house, or very small, maybe 2 people, but certainly not a big family, to be able to have another option and live there. We thought it was a good idea because under your affordable housing plan and your plan of conservation and development, you're looking for more of this 1- and 2-bedroom rental type housing that can attract workforce, downsizers, young adults that come in that are not ready to be able to afford a single-family house. It provides a more diverse population for the town of Southbury, and it does those things. So we think that this does all of those things by allowing someone who's not related to the owner to come in. I can tell you that our applicants plan to live in this single-family house, but the regulation isn't set for individual people. Regulations are about uses, and so we need to make it so that it works going forward no matter what. So that's what we did. It is possible that they may want to, and they haven't decided to do this and may not do this, but they may want to be able to have this be a part of a common interest owner community that owns the whole thing. The common interest community would make sure that the buffer works. There's this buffer between the commercial part of the property and the residential part of the property, which is consistent with the Salford Plan of Conservation and Development, that it's designed into this project with the requirement that the commercial part of the property have to maintain that, not the residential, not the residences. So there could be a situation where that would be set up to make sure that those things happen other than just the zoning regulations, which isn't just the zoning regulations, because zoning regulations will be a requirement how this property is used. So the thing that we proposed, I know there's been a lot of comment about it, but it wasn't meant to be an ADU. It was meant to be another option. We tried to change the name on it so it wouldn't be confusing. It is accessory because it's connected to the main house. It has to have the same owner. It's just that that owner doesn't have to live in one or the other of those. Probably the owner will live in the main house, and they'll probably rent out the MDAU. So there is another form of not only income, but also providing another housing opportunity. It could be an in-law that lives there. There's no requirement that it be rented. It could be just used and there could be a dwelling, there could be a young family member. All of those things are possible. There's no restriction on who that person is that lives in the MDAU. The only change we had was a little bit of a disconnect, maybe it was on our part, to make sure that the architectural plan is consistent with the zoning reg and the amount of square feet we put in there. I can tell you, I represent Roxbury, and their ADUs are 1,800 square feet because they really want them, and they want people to build sort of nice ones and come in and do that in their community. And other communities have different size limits. So we picked 1,200. We're willing to listen about that, but that's what we selected. We wanted it to be small. We wanted it to be it could be up to a maximum of 2 bedrooms. We need to pay attention because we know the public health department takes any room that's got a door on it and calls it a bedroom for purposes of septic system. So we have a lot of concerns that we're looking at, and it was pointed out by your staff, and quite properly, that what we designed was larger than the 1,200 square feet, and we need to fix that. So in the plans, so that's what it is. So it wasn't ever meant to be the reason we didn't call it an ADU is it's not one. I guess there's another big point to this. Is the whole purpose for planned development districts is to come up with some ideas that are different, that are unique, and this was a good idea. On this Burma Road, across from Burma Road, and I'll put this on the record, are more than 6 single dwellings with driveways. We have 4 buildings, and we have that many driveways, and it's less than the single family across. Our clients want this to be a not over-intense development where they are, where they live, and also for the Burma Road community. So it's going to provide a very reasonable amount of housing, then less than you could do if we didn't come in with a PDD. And so that one small unit, instead of being a whole house to begin with, and we're still calling it residences, that's where our residences are going to be in the PDD.
Thank you. Ms. Michaels, I don't know if that answered your question. Come on up, please.
I mean, is there, I'm sure that the owner probably lives in a McMansion and is not going to live in some small house and how big are these houses and these
Okay, well, we have
duplexes?
We have plans that show them, that we've just provided. We are saying that the owner does not have to live in either the single-family house or the MDAU, but they have to be owned by the same owner. One owner. I can rent out my house, they can rent out their house the same way. So they're allowed to rent it out. I don't think they're going to, but they could. So we're not saying that the owner must live in the house, but it has to be used for residential use. That's what we're providing in our regulation. So the use is residential. It doesn't matter if it's XYZ person, TRS person, doesn't matter who that is. And this zoning commission is not about identity of users anyway. It's about uses. So the use is residential. It's going to be a single-family residential house, and the other unit is a small dwelling. And one of the reasons why we have the same owner is to make sure that everything is done, the taxes are paid, it's kept up, it's cared for, somebody's paying attention to it. It's not just a little house that's sitting there. It really has another layer of protection by having the same owner own both of those.
Sorry, I just have one question. Why didn't you plan for another duplex there instead of a single family and an MDAU?
Okay, could you say that again?
Why didn't you plan for another duplex there instead of the single family and MDAU?
I don't understand your question. Why didn't we plan for
A third duplex where this is instead of these two different units?
Why have them be separate not attached dwellings, and instead of just another attached?
Oh, why didn't we not instead of doing duplexes, why didn't we do
No,
separate
no,
No, why
buildings?
is
around.
having a house and a small house instead of just doing a third duplex there?
Right.
Which still allows basically everything you're asking for them to be, have families that are not connected living in both of them, but it could be owned by a single property. Like, why is that?
We
not
like this plan better to have the people have some privacy in the units that they live in. We think it's a better plan.
Okay, thanks.
Sure, come on up. If you could just give us your name, please.
Hi, I'm Nancy Nagy. I live at 74 Burma Road. And all this just sounds very greedy to me. You want 2 duplexes with 2 apartments. You want another single-family dwelling with an accessory apartment, and whatever you want to call it. You're turning Burma Road into rentals. Rentals. First, when we had this meeting last year, we were told that the owners were going to live in the home, and the home was originally next to the commercial building. And then you had a duplex, and then you had a duplex further down, which now is where you're showing the residential dwelling. Well, that dwelling there is very close to the wetlands on that piece of property, which there's other people here that can go into that. But we're not rentals. We have one duplex on our road that was, the mother lived in one side and the son lived in the other. At the very end of the road, there's fairly new people that bought a house from New York. They live in the house upstairs. There's a small rental that they put downstairs. We're not happy about our road turning into rentals. No. We're a residential area. And plus you're gonna, are we talking about like the whole development now, or are we just talking, okay. So now you're gonna clear out these trees to put this 10,000 square foot building, and you keep talking about a buffer by putting up all these trees and all that. There's noise. There's lighting. You talk about, oh, there's gonna be 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms. Well, that doesn't mean that 2 people aren't gonna live in an apartment with 1 bedroom. So now you're talking 2 cars in 1 bedroom. You're talking duplexes with, 2 bedrooms. And then you're talking about a house, which will most likely be rented out, because I know you say the owner does not have to live in it. And then you want an apartment there on top of it. You're turning our street into rentals. And I know Southbury needs, affordable housing, but we're a residential area. And it's coming down to, it's all about the money. No one cares about us that live there and that resident. And I'll tell you right now, where I live, my brother and I built the house. He became disabled, and he wanted to build a house before he died. And we did. My brother passed away last year, and I'm gonna be looking out the front window at a duplex. Am I happy about it? No. And the other people on our street, they're not happy about it either. And I know you talk about, okay, put a cul-de-sac at the end, it's a teardrop. It still creates a problem at the other end, and I know you say you brought in, I spoke to the fire department, this and that. We have a neighbor, she's here, Alice. They have a trailer, and it's not just her. We have a lot of traffic on our road. We have a lot of trucks, triaxles that come in, and they come in from my end of the road, because the other end, like you say, there's a telephone pole. The whole end would have to be opened up further. But beyond that, where Vivian Michaels lives, it's a curve. It's very narrow. They just had a neighbor who's going to have their driveway paved at the end. And, they realize how much traffic, they're parking their trailer in the road, and you have cars come. It's just so dangerous. We had a motorcycle accident recently at that end on 188. We had a very bad car accident right where we have the daycare on 67 there, and you have one driveway that's coming into a commercial building from 67 one way in and out. And you say there's done traffic studies, but for someone who's going to want to take a left into that commercial building or come out and take a left, it's just going to be accidents all the time. All the time. What's it going to take for someone to die? I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't. So I have to say that right now, but you're turning our road into rentals. And I lived in Woodbury, and I had a house, and I had an in-law apartment that was about 1,100 square feet, and my in-laws lived in it. I did not turn it into a rental. This is what I have to say. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nagan. Anyone else from the public?
Well, she pressed more than that particular thing, so.
You have something else?
Open to the public at this point, guys. Anyone that wants to speak on the application can come up and speak on the application.
You can address anything on the,
Yep. Any item you want to address as far as the application goes, feel free to come up and speak. Just take it orderly, make sure everyone has the opportunity to get their word out.
Hi, I'm Vivian Michaels, 164 Burma Road, and I know you have all these credentials that Mr. Traffic Man, right? And we were all just shaking our heads going, wow, where did he get that data? Did you see that last year we had asked Southbury Police Department to do a traffic study on our road? We had Officer Michael Marquette did a traffic study on our road because the speeding is incredible. A lot of our mailboxes are across the street, and we take our life in our hands. We go to get our mail. Anyway, on the traffic study, which I have right here in my hand, done by Michael Marquette, policeman, he is the traffic, he's been assigned that duty. 1,691 cars a day travel Burma Road. You're saying, oh, well, there's 4 here, and there's going to be, well, with these coming out of the development. But already, we have 1,691 cars a day that he documented, okay? And then the whole idea of more driveways coming out onto Burma Road from some of this development, and one driveway coming out for the commercial side onto 67, guaranteed, mark my words, you could document it right now, there are going to be accidents.
Thank you, Ms. Michaels.
Gary, just state your name and address when you come up.
Gary Diamond, 128 Burma Road. I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to make some statements. All right. First question. Will all 8 acres be clear cut? Will all the trees be cut on the 8 acres? Will all the trees be cut?
You want to list all your questions and then the
I'm
appropriate?
sorry, I can't hear.
I said, if you list all your questions, the appropriate responders will come up at the end and respond to each of your questions. So
Wait a minute. At the end, you'll comment?
yeah, because it's going to have to be responded to by different members of the team.
Okay, all right. So then I'll keep talking. If so, how many homes on Burma Road will lose their wooded view, reducing our property values? Removing the trees will also increase stormwater runoff, not on the houses, but on the ground. Not on the roofs where the drains go, but right on the ground, adding additional stress to the swamp. Traffic safety. Are we finally getting the proposed cul-de-sac with an emergency access gate? The police department knows both ends of Burma Road have safety problems due to speeding and accidents. Residents need real solutions before someone is seriously injured or killed. I was grabbed by a car getting my mail. I was dragged down the road. I didn't fall, but the car kept going. It didn't stop. I'm up there in age. Luckily, then I had good balance. That was not a good feeling. We have a blind spot in our road. Groundwater concerns. Before the sale, there's a statement. Remember, I was the overseer of the land. Before the sale, the previous owner, for whom I served as an overseer since 1985, told me he dug test holes approximately every 75 feet along Burma Road and found water at about 3 feet below the surface in October. This is not done in January, we did all the time. He did this in October, and I said, so what are you gonna do? It's a swamp, he said. I gotta get rid of it. A nearby well, which is very close to Site 4, has contaminated water. I talked to the real estate agent and asked the real estate agent, why do you keep bringing people here? You got like 10 people already here. He says, it's got a bad well. I know that house, you can check pricing. I'm not gonna say which house it is, but I'll get in trouble. But it sold, I think it cost like $650 to build, and it sold for around $230. Who wants to drink water that comes out of a filter machine? Okay, now, I asked the guy, so where's the dirt, what's ruining the well? And he says, best we think, it's the surface runoff, because you're on a hill way up there, and all the water goes downhill from all the roads and everything. It's not just Burma Road snow contamination, it's all the snow, what they put on the road to clean up the melt the snow with. So that's what contaminated. Now, I'm looking at the maps, I see all the wells are close to the road. So are they gonna get contaminated too?
All right, so
I'd
Mr.
highly
Diamond,
suggest
Mr. Diamond, if
that
I
the
may,
well- huh?
if I may, this commission isn't going to be able, doesn't have much control over water. So this is a zoning meeting. So the inland wetlands has passed on this,
Well,
and
it's-
they've reviewed it, and they're the experts, and
All right,
and
well,
they've passed on
okay,
that. So
all right.
I'm just
So
suggesting that the
you hit a bad
the
well, you hit a
discussion of
bad
the
well.
wells
Okay.
isn't going to get very far.
All right, now, we request that nearby wells be tested.
All right, I'm going to go back to the wells
Yeah.
thing. This is not a commission
How
connected
do we
with
get?
water.
What kind of a meeting do we have to have for our water wells?
Mark, I can interject at this point. Gary, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Not really.
No worries, I'll speak up. So Megan Miller is the engineer for the project, and she noted early on in this application that she can speak more to the well conversation if further comments come up and questions come up. So Megan, forgive me, but you are prepared to address questions related to the well. So everything you're asking right now, Gary, when you're finished regarding your comments, we can hear from the engineer and hear direct answers to
All
what
right.
you're inquiring about.
Okay, all right. Now I want to talk about the culvert and the swamps. Can we talk about that?
I'm not quite sure what the engineer is prepared to
Okay,
address.
here's the situation with the swamp, okay? There's only one exit for this whole land. There's one culvert. It was built before 1935. This culvert was blocked up around 1962 to 63, the old Route 67, because Route 67 was moved north. The old Route 67 is still there. It's still asphalt on the ground there. And a huge block weighing probably 2 to 4 tons fell in front of the culvert. Here's a photo. Here's a photo I have here of.
You can hand that right to me, Gary.
Huh?
You can hand that right to me.
Okay, I'll give it to you. Here's the photo of the, you can see the block blocking up the culvert. Now,
And then I'll hand it around to all the.
all right, now this is very important. I asked the owner to pull the block out. I'll get to it. I asked the town of Southbury, please unblock the culvert, because we had a tornado come through the land. When the tornado came through the land, it took out a bunch of trees. A logger came in and removed basically 500 trees off that land. One of them was original, 2 were original growths. In other words, they were 7 feet in diameter. That's like me to over to you. That's how, not circumference, diameter. One was hit by the tornado. The other one, the fire marshal, Chris, let it go through. He took it, the logger, these were big pumpers. They pumped the water out by the roots and send them up. You can hang on to it. So they send it up, and that's how the water leaves the land. Once the trees were gone, that's why I want to know if you're clear cutting. Once the trees were gone, there's no way for the water to escape off that land. That culvert was built before 1935. For 60 years, it just sat with that block in front. We don't know if water was trying to get around it. As you can see from that picture, almost about the size of a cabbage and a half is how much was open, and then top. And the bottom, the water had to get through, so it's probably working its way around and undermining the culvert. Nobody knows. We need an inspection. And this goes underneath Route 67 and comes out between the end of Classic Coach and the next business that's over there, okay? Now, if that collapses, Southbury's in big trouble if it collapses. If we do anything with this whole project, and we add, this might be just like the last final tip of the iceberg. This is like the straw that broke the camel's back, to put pressure on that culvert. Nobody even knows where the culvert is. Jordan last week asked me, where is the culvert? The culvert is located next to 2 houses. From what I remember, because I haven't touched the land, I haven't been on there since it was sold, it's between 2 old houses. One was built in 1900, and one was built 1954-52. So the culvert runs between them. If this culvert blasts itself out from pressure, those 2 houses are going to fall apart. Route 67 is going to cave in, and it's going to be blocked. Where's the water going to come in a big storm? It's going to turn this whole 8 acres into a huge lake. Not a pond, but a lake, an 8-acre lake. That's what's going to happen. I used to have an open culvert on my land. And that culvert, when it would rain heavy, with that culvert, you could see the water coming from the top. It would look like a brook. It really comes down from behind me. All the water's coming down behind me, okay? So the town refused to do anything about it then. I went to the state of Connecticut, the DOT, and I says, look, Route 67 is going to collapse. And they said, whoa, what are you talking about? And a guy came over, met me there, and I found the culvert. I showed him. He gave one look. He saw all the water piled in front. Now, what I have here for the committee, for all you people here, I have something here to show you, okay? I want to show you something, okay? Here it is. Here's the block in front of the culvert. It was blocked up for 60 years, okay? There's the block, there's the top of the culvert. You can even hear the water running there. Hear the water running? See the water that's there? It's all blocked up. is trying to get through a tiny little hole there. It's all jammed up. There's the top of the culvert. Huge block blocking the thing up. For 60 long years this went on. We don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's underneath that culvert. Is it a sinkhole underneath? Maybe. On Monroe 2 weeks ago, an old culvert fell through. We don't know if there's a sinkhole. This was built when Route 67 used to have horse and wagons go over it. Model T cars, not triaxles. We're not, the state of Connecticut has never inspected this culvert. I did my research. The state of Connecticut has no number for this culvert. The town of Southbury has no number for this culvert. Nobody knows it's even there. It's there. And what you're doing here is you're talking about wonderful houses, pictures, everything. When that culvert blocks up, all those houses are gonna end up being flooded underwater. It won't matter how pretty they are. It won't matter how many bedrooms or bathrooms you have or how many septics. It is what it is. And that's the whole thing. Now, I'm not done. Okay? I just want to show you.
that to our engineer so we know what we're talking about.
Huh?
We need to see it also.
You want to see it too?
We want to see what you showed the commission.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Thank you
Okay?
very much.
You guys are just as important as everybody else. Here, look. Look, here it is. You can see the block. For 60 years, this is how it looks. Wait a minute. As soon as the trees were cut down, it got much worse. See that block that's holding it up there? You see it? You want to go in there? I dare everybody to walk in the swamp. Now, the swamp was hiding quite a bit of ash wood. The original owner asked me to find wood cutters to get rid of the ash wood. You are the most important person, so Gail, I'm going to show it to you. Here, there it is. Look, there it is. You see the water right in front. You'll see it. There's the culvert. See, it's the big block that's laying right across. The block is still laying there, as far as I know.
Where is it on our map?
Ah, you don't know where the culvert is. Okay. All right, let's pull up your map I wanted to talk to you in the beginning.
Gary, we gotta move through your comments, all right? So I wanna be able to address all your questions, and I still wanna make sure we have enough time for anyone else to ask questions.
Okay, I got it. Rules, okay.
Oh, I know.
I'm sorry.
But just any other questions you have, and we'll make sure we
Yes,
address
yes.
all of these, okay?
We need, the town of Southbury needs to put pressure on the state of Connecticut to get the culvert inspected, and what we need from the state of Connecticut is an estimated remaining service of life on that culvert. We don't have it. Is it 1 day? Is it 5 years? Is it 50? Is it 100?
All right, Gary, we got the culvert covered, and we will address those comments.
Okay.
But anything else you have, we wanna make sure we hear everything from you, and we can address everything.
I wanted to talk about, the wells, but now I want to talk about one other thing. You mentioned, is there going to be blasting? I thought I
far as
heard,
I know, I
I
don't
watched
remember
the last
blasting.
video, they were talking about blasting. Is there going to be blasting?
All right, we have all your questions, Gary. So why don't we give the applicant some time to address your
Oh,
questions?
I just want to say, that a precedent has been set in 2009 about blasting. If blasting's done, the material can't be processed on the land. That was determined by the town of Southbury, and I have that old document from 2009. Then when they tried to process it, they said no. They had to take it off the property, and that ended the whole project right there, okay? So you have this certified number right there. If you want it, you can.
Gary, if you want to make that part of the public record, by all means, leave that right here, and we'll also show.
It's the only copy I have, but see my computer. You want to take a picture of it or whatever? Here. Just take a picture of the because that sets a precedent that no
All right, so
processing
we,
should be
we
done
have the question on
outside.
blasting, we have the question on processing, we have all your other questions. Anything else you want
No.
the applicant to address?
Yes.
Okay.
If there's gonna be if there's gonna be processing, if there's gonna be blasting, we want our homes inspected. We want our homes inspected. That's it. We want our homes inspected. If there's gonna be processing, our homes must be inspected. I was promised in 2009, when they blasted near us, to have my house inspected. It was not put on the record, and my house has a crack in the back, in the front, and that lines up with the crack right across the road on Burma Road, which leads right to that area that was blasted, that mountain that was taken away. And that mountain is just sitting there, a big empty lot now. And I'm the victim. And they told me I'm too far away. And they wouldn't give me a dime. So now my house, right in the front, has a big crack to the foundation, and lines up with the crack in the back, and lines up with the crack on the road. You could draw a string right across them, the 3 points. So I'm really, really worried. If you're gonna be blasting, I want an inspection of my house, and I'm asking for everybody else that's on Burma Road to have an inspection of their house. I know it's expensive, but it's our houses. We live here first. And why should I have to be paying a fortune to have my house fixed? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Diamond.
Did I gave you that, right?
You good.
You gave it back to me, right?
I'm gonna get it back to you, it's going around the commission right now.
All right.
Okay, Megan?
That was. That was set up back then.
No, well, let's let her respond to that first.
They did process anyway.
All right, Mr. Diamond, thank you. Go on.
I have the list if you guys.
Yeah, just real quick on traffic. The one comment was about the amount of vehicles per day that the police had. That's kind of in order with the numbers we had counted. What I was given was vehicles during the peak hours. It was about 100 and something during the AM and PM peak hours. So when you put that through the entire day and you include the traffic that's going out of the other end of Burma Road, you know, that those numbers are consistent with the police numbers. The speeding on Burma Road's an existing condition. Our project will not have much traffic on Burma Road. It would not have any impact on the speeding. As I said, it's an existing condition. That's why the cul-de-sac was discussed by the town. And as the town's consultant mentioned, you know, they've studied it. That would reduce the speeding, because only vehicles on that road would be the residents. And so if anyone's speeding, it would be them. Because you wouldn't have the cut-through traffic on the road there. Regarding a gate at the end of a cul-de-sac for emergency access, again, as the town's consultant said, that would be a town decision if they want to have a emergency gate with a breakaway lock that the fire department or ambulance could use if necessary.
Thank you.
For the record, again, Megan Miller, project manager, Civil One. I would just like to take your attention to our general plan. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Thank you. Okay. I'm just going to turn your attention to our general plan, and I will show you. Yeah, okay. Just, I need to talk louder. Got it. Thank you. So if you can see, and again, these are, and you can view them in the town hall, this darker green area is the existing vegetation that is going to remain. So any of those trees that are in that area continue to remain. The lighter green is the area that we call like disturbed. That would be, again, vegetated grass. We would have a robust planting plan. These are just general plans which kind of show you that we have looked at the feasibility. But no, not every tree on the property is going to be clear cut. As far as the implication, as far as the results of tree clearing and the development, our drainage analysis, which was submitted to your record takes that into account. So when you're talking about forests, that you're removing some forests, you're putting in new impervious area, parking lot, grass, things like that, that's all modeled and looked into and considered when we're trying to figure out that peak rate of water that is leaving the site. Regarding the culvert, that is the location where the water naturally drains today. Our development in our analysis shows that we are either keeping that the same or reducing that amount of volume that is going to that culvert based on our development. I did look into who owns this culvert, who is responsible for this culvert. I reached out to the town regarding the other culverts that are discharging onto our property. The town has agreed that those are their culverts. They would continue to maintain them. Now, this culvert going to 67, I imagine, is also the responsibility of the state. I am more than happy to continue my communication with the state of Connecticut Department of Transportation to, again, find out that reasoning and the maintenance responsibility. Ultimately, too, if that is clogged, it's to the detriment of our application and our owner. They would want that to be fixed as well. So they're more than willing to work with the state on determining best mode for maintenance. Again, this is a general plan, though, and all of these things would be taken care of with fully developed plans. Test pit holes, we saw water at 3 feet of water. That is actually consistent with what we also saw. The implication of that is septic systems. The systems have been designed to accommodate that groundwater that was viewed. There's nearby wells. So to get into more of the, actually, I'll handle the blasting and the processing of earth materials first, before I get into the well. Blasting and excavation and processing of earth materials, those are regulations that are part of the zoning regulations that we would need to comply with, that would be taken account of in the detailed plans. When we're talking about blasting, if we didn't need it, which based on the amount of fill that for this property, I doubt there would be much blasting if there were any. A licensed blaster would need to coordinate and get that permit from your fire marshal, which would include pre-blast surveys of the surrounding area, notification, and compliance with all of these regulations. Now, all of these little pieces obviously make up a huge design. And that's why we're going through this general, to see your initial feelings and thoughts, and then they get fully developed in the detailed plans and in the construction drawings, and we handle them. Because ultimately, there are multiple town and state regulations that we need to comply with beyond just wetland zoning. We need to go to DOT for our driveway, et cetera. So all of these things, we have a lot of people, both on the local and the state level, who look at these plans, who make sure that they are reasonable and they are fully detailed to the current standards. To get to the wells, which is kind of the perfect segue. Again, this is a community public water system. So because we don't have access to public water, we need to have wells that can handle the amount of water that is necessary for this development. And we call that a community water system. And the applicant is required to do multiple steps, both pre-screening and then before construction and before approval. So test borings and pump tests, aquifer yield analysis, groundwater, water quality sampling. All of these things we take a look into to determine whether the pumping of the water reduces the yield on your neighboring wells or causes contamination migration. Yes, there are some wells that are contaminated in this area. I know that because of some commercial developments, garages, paint. I think there was a painting, automobile painting shop on 67 that has then been closed down and remediated. That's off of their property, but because of that location, everyone in this area for new development needs to take that into consideration. And it's part of the design and ultimate approval by the Department of Public Health.
I saw your video, so I ask you a question, your last video?
Gary, we can't have you ask questions at this point, unless you're at the podium and we can address that later.
So again, all of these things, they take a look into whether our property would be affected by that contamination and to make sure that we're not giving people who then rent these properties or live in these homes contaminated water. So all of that is taken care of. And then the same thing with proposed well placements. So there are locations that the wells need to be away from the septic systems, from sewer lines, from fuel storage, stormwater structures, all of these things. So when you have a detailed plan, they go again, take a look into, and everyone is taking a look at and considering it. Not just the engineer that is preparing the plans, but also the state of Connecticut. Again, there's a hydrologic a mapping, again, of all of the private and public irrigation wells that are located within this area. Usually it's in that zone of 500 to 2,000 feet we would be looking at. We also do monitoring and protection of existing wells. So that's taking baseline water quality sampling of existing wells prior to construction and then periodic post-construction monitoring. So again, making sure that our work doesn't affect anyone outside of our property and that our property isn't creating an adverse effect on them. Again, sustainable, we've got proposed production, yields, aquifer, recharge, impacts by nearby wells. All of these things are taken a look into. And there's also long-term monitoring requirements for this system. So we would need to provide pumping records, groundwater level monitoring, source water sampling, again, for that water quality, and that contamination monitoring. So again, as part of this approval and continued use, we would need to continue to do this, this monitoring and this looking into. And also, we have post-construction interference recourse. So in case there is any complaints that come in because of this project during construction, the Department of Public Health may investigate. They may require the applicant to do additional studies, and they might put operational limits on us if there is a negative impact post-construction. So I want to really reassure the commission and the public that this would be fully thought through. You have multiple agencies looking into it, making sure that this applicant and this work complies with the regulations. I think that's all the comments.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you.
Gail McTaggart for the record. Also, I should point out that our PDD text regulation requires compliance with all of what she just said. We have to comply with all the health code. We have to meet all the requirements for the septic systems, for the wells, all those requirements. So because this is a zoning text and not yet a detailed plan, it's saying that those detailed plans have to do those things. So the zoning text requires it. So it's not just we're going to do it because it's out there. We actually have a zoning text that requires it. And our text is similar to many other PDDs in Southbury that do this. In the general, in the general plan stage, they provide a requirement that we comply. When we get to the detailed plan stage, we have construction plans and a lot more detail. But you couldn't approve a detailed plan that complies with this zoning text unless you carried out the requirements for approvals. We're a little bit ahead of the game because of the wetlands. We knew that there were wetlands in the property, and we came in and we got the detailed plan stage at least to the point of the wetlands approval. So we do have the benefit of more information about the property and the feasibility of the property based on that. Next round, if this is approved, there will be detailed plans. That wetland approval will be part of this record, but it'll be also part of that record, and the construction plans will have to comply with that wetlands approval. So both that, and I think there's strict liability, I think, as some of the people on this commission know, for blasting in Connecticut. And anybody who blasts, and it's not any assurance that we're going to need to blast, but if there were blasting, all of what Megan pointed out is accurate. There is so much protection on this, pre-surveys, post-surveys, insurance, making sure that that the people can handle liability. So our government's done a pretty good job of protecting people in this respect. I don't know what happened 30 years ago. I know today there's a very, very, very strict requirements. Fire marshal watches after that. We have to comply with that if we do that. That's not just this project or any project that's in Connecticut.
Thank you.
Has there been anyone who hasn't had their questions addressed? Vivian, I know you want to come up and maybe ask additional questions as well as Gary, but is there anyone else who just really came with questions and hasn't had the opportunity to speak yet? No? Yeah. Gary, Vivian, any questions you guys have, please?
What you said, Vivian Michaels, 164 Burma Road. And what this lady here says is accurate, because I did some research, and I got the guidance document for evaluating potential hydrogeological impacts associated with blasting and development activities, Bureau of Water Protection and Land Reuse for Connecticut. And it does say, if, before they do the wells, within 500 feet of the new wells, the existing wells of the neighborhood need to be testing pre, during, and post. My question is this: who pays for that? Okay.
Thanks, Vivian.
Okay.
The applicant.
The applicant picture. Yep.
All right. Yep. And just for the record, Megan addressed the question stating that the applicant pays for those testing. Good. Awesome. Yep, just step up to the mic and we can absolutely answer that question as well.
Nancy Nagy, 74 Burma Road. What happens if there is damage to our wells? Who pays for that? Is the applicant going to pay for that too?
Hi, again, for the record, Megan Miller. Yes, there are post-construction interference recourse that is being implemented by the Department of Public Health. So if we do cause any sort of damage, the applicant is required to fix that.
Well, we really don't want damage. Also, I noticed on the prints that the two duplexes are sharing a well?
Correct.
No.
Why did you want me up here?
So there are two wells located right here and here. That's part of this. Sorry, thank you. There are two wells located on what we call the commercial mixed-use property. That's on the corner of Southford Road and Burma Road. And then there is one pretty much midsection of the building that is located right off of the parking lot. So those two wells are for that community water service. So those two wells, and one is really for a redundancy factor, that serves water for that mixed-use development as well as the two duplexes.
Okay, so how do you sell the two duplexes then?
So if they were to be sold, which subdivision, something like that, we would need to come in with a new application and show compliance with the Connecticut Public Health Code. So that's showing that the septic systems and the wells, a new proposed well for the duplexes, would comply with their current regulations.
So the reason why they're sharing the well is because there's wetlands there. They can't have their own separate wells.
No, that's not correct, because
That's
there's
not
no
correct?
wetlands located in that area. So the wetlands, there are wetlands on the property for the single-family home, and that is why we're showing the well for the new location, and it's really just because we didn't want to impact the wetlands. But there's regulations that wells need to be a certain distance away from things, septic systems, drainage, structures, not wetlands.
Guess not.
Okay, we can ask the rest of the group, but just between you, Vivian? Okay. Is there anyone else who has any questions? Barbara? Barbara's gonna jump ahead of you.
I can't hear for beans, I'm telling you.
Good evening, and thanks to everybody for your patience for a very long meeting. I'm still here, and I'm glad you are too. I live on Burma Road, and I've been observing the water flow.
State your name for the record, sorry.
Barbara Hampton, Hampton, 182 Burma Road.
Thank
Got
you.
everything now? Okay. We live a little ways from the pond down at Southford Falls State Park. And I pay attention to the water flow that goes down that way, because that is potentially a source of serious pollution that goes from Southford Falls State Park, as I'm sure many of you who are long-lived in Southbury know, that then goes down to Lake Zor. And Lake Zor goes down to the Long Island Sound. And they're just beginning to realize the amount of contamination that goes in that pathway. So developments that are not sufficiently supported on site are going to be contaminating that entire waterway and Long Island Sound. Now, I don't have a big boat that I take out on Long Island Sound and go zooming around, so it's not going to affect me. But the overall pollution and the lack of recreational space for people, safe recreational space to go swim in the river, wade in the ponds, that's going to be a big negative. And I think any of these developments need to address how that water is going to be processed, contained, and made safe for all users.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Megan Miller again for the record. So there's twofold. I wasn't sure if you were referring to septic systems or if you were referring to stormwater systems, so I'll address both. Again, there are regulations that regulate the stormwater systems, which is the recommendations by the Connecticut Stormwater Manual. We comply by that, so what we typically look at is how can we take out pollutants, oils, sediments, things like that from the environment, from like parking lots, from asphalt roofs. How can we treat that? I mentioned before, our systems have been designed for the water quality volume as well as net attenuation. Again, net attenuation means water that's leaving the site currently today, we are not increasing that water off. We are recharging the soils because our water is being collected, directed, and then detained on site. It then infiltrates into the soils where there is a cleaning process. So each of these systems, they're underground systems, typically remove 80% of like total suspended solids, which meets the requirements and the recommendations from DEEP. For the septic systems, similar situation. We have regulations that we need to be. We need to be certain distances above groundwater. We need to be certain distances away from wells, certain distances away from stormwater systems, other things, water courses. Our plans comply with that. We're through the process by the Department of Public Health. They'll make sure that our plans comply. They might offer comments and concerns. We will address them because ultimately there's no stop further unless we get this health approval, which we don't think will be an issue. But either way, you have these protections in place by these different departments, by the state of Connecticut, that we need to comply by. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tammy Spakowski, 1240 Southford Road. Has there been any wildlife studies, and are there any endangered animals that are going to be impacted? you know, that kind of, I mean, we got to think of them too.
Thank you, great question. Yes, it has been addressed in the plan. NDDB is the state to see if there's any endangered species. There are not any in this area. Thank you, I'm dropping everything today. There are no identified endangered species or plants in our area. Yes, that is one of those items that are, you know, looked at. It's not in the maps that are called NDDB maps that are produced by the state of Department of Environmental Protection, DEEP. Additionally, there is a wetland impact report that was prepared by soil scientist Ian Cole, and he has determined that there will be no adverse impact to this area, in the wetland area, and the flora due to this development. And that is on the record as well.
Thank you. Well, the applicant has asked that this public hearing remain open, and I think we're all agreeable to that. So if you come up with other questions, you'll have another chance.
Yes, I think we definitely want to address the size of our MDAU to make sure it's consistent. We have to, on some of the plans, we need to make sure we have the applicant's name spelled correctly. So we're going to get to that. It's a minor thing, but it's something that we will do. And I appreciate the comments from the public. I think we've heard from them when we came in for the zoning amendment, and part of what's gone on and the reason that our client was willing to work on the road is because of many comments from Burma Road people, and we realized that we could be part of a solution and not part of a problem, and so we've tried very hard. So the intensity of the development is reasonable. The site, and a lot of what, I know some of you maybe don't care about the architecture, but part of the PDD application is that this commission gets to look at how something will look on a PDD application. On other applications, if this were just a residential subdivision application, there would be no review of how the architecture would look. So this gives this commission a lot of authority. It means that we have confidence that we have to come in with plans that provide a tremendous amount of detail, more than if we just developed a commercial site or just subdivided a piece of property. The PDD regulation in Southbury has worked beautifully for this town to provide very good, not only uses, but good architectural merit, and we really care about that. We did listen, the Planning Commission approval needs to be put into the record. I think it is in the record. It's supposed to be read into the record. But at any rate, we did look at that, and we're cognizant of the fact that this is a gateway property as you come into town. Our clients care about that. They're going to live there. They care as much about it as you. They want to be neighbors. So and I can say that I would happy to have them as my neighbor, and I live in Southbury, so I would appreciate that. So we will ask that it be continued. I don't think there's too much more that we need to provide. I did provide comments to, I didn't provide comments to Jordan's analysis that he did. I actually agree with almost all of it, but I will have a couple of comments on that. We've talked about the stone walls. And there's been a comment about the stone walls, and we're going to make sure that it's clear that if stone walls are taken down, they'll be relocated and worked into the property so that it can be done in a positive way. I did do also some comments on Gianna's comments, and I will be getting back. I passed them out to everybody on the commission, and I'll be prepared to talk about those.
Next time.
Yes.
Right.
Because I can't see the clock, but.
Well, we have other business as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thank you for all that, and
Why don't we, just while we have it, read into the record, Dee, the planning referral, as well as the only correspondence we received for this public hearing, and then we can wrap this up and finish up with the other items.
So we received correspondence from Mr. and Mrs. Kennedy at 26 Burma Road addressing their concerns of the proposal. This was received today, June 10th, 2026, or 12:23. Attention, to the Southbury Planning and Zoning Commission. Hello, I would like to submit this for tonight's hearing. My wife and I will not be able to attend. I'm writing to express my opposition to any proposed development on Burma Road. Burma Road already presents significant safety concerns for residents, pedestrians, and motorists. The roadway experiences frequent speeding violations, and the current traffic conditions create an environment that many residents already consider hazardous. The road's design and existing infrastructure are not well-suited to accommodate additional vehicle traffic that would inevitably result from further development. In addition to traffic concerns, Burma Road lacks adequate accommodations for pedestrian use. Residents, children, and visitors who walk along the road are often forced to share limited roadway space with vehicles, creating unsafe conditions for foot traffic. Increased development would likely exacerbate these risks by adding more vehicles, increased congestion, and creating additional points of conflict between motorists and pedestrians. The quality of life and safety of existing residents should be a primary consideration in evaluating any proposal affecting Burma Road. Given the roadway's current challenges, we believe that further development would place an undue burden on the area and increase the likelihood of accidents and safety incidences. Should the Commission ultimately determine that development will proceed despite these concerns, we would strongly encourage the town to require the installation of the cul-de-sac as a condition of approval. While this would not eliminate all the concerns associated with additional development, it would represent a reasonable compromise that could help reduce traffic impacts, improve roadway safety, and limit through traffic on Burma Road. We respectfully ask the Commission to carefully consider the existing safety issues, traffic concerns, and pedestrians' hazards before approving any development proposal. The preservation of public safety and the character of the neighborhood should remain paramount in the decision-making process. Thank you for your time and consideration. Respectfully, Patrick and Kristen Kennedy of 26 Burma Road. And then this is the memo that was to the Southbury Zoning Commission from Jordan Marcinko, Land Use Administrator, regarding the, just want to make sure I got the right one. Regarding the planning referral, in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes 8-3A subsection B, the Southbury Zoning Commission referred the application to establish a planned development district number 25 to the Planning Commission for review and comment to determine consistency with the proposed PDD with the Plan of Conservation and Development, as well as any other plan the Commission deems relevant. Contained within the general plans is the formal petition to amend the zone map and zoning regulations. PDD regulation text, as well as a general site plan development proposals, have been presented as part of this application for petition. The following is a summary of the petition and site plan application. General plans, petition to establish plan development, PDD 25 petition would allow for the establishment of a mixed-use commercial residential style development on an 8.97 acre lot. This development will blend commercial and residential structures across this common interest community parcel. This site is made up of 4 primary sites. Site 1, mixed-use commercial residential building. Site 2, duplex A. Site 3, duplex B. Site 4, single-family home with modified detached accessory unit, MDAU. Both the mixed-use commercial building and the duplexes are proposed to be tied together with common utilities for water supply. This system will be housed in the pump house proposed to be situated between the commercial building and the duplex structures. The single-family home will have individual utilities serving that dwelling, as well as the MDAU, which is accessory to the single-family home structure. At the special meeting held on June 1st, 2026, by the Planning Commission, the Commission considered the proposed PDD and found it to be consistent with the 2023 Plan of Conservation and Development, as well as the 2006 Southford Plan of Conservation and Development. The following motion was made with the underlying condition. Motion by Commissioner Tierdo, seconded by Commissioner Clark, and passed unanimously to forward a favorable response to the Zoning Commission under 8-3A subsection B referral. Conditions. The Planning Commission requests that prior to the opening of the public hearing for this application, the Zoning Commission review the recording of the special meeting held by the Planning Commission on 6/1/2026. Contained within this meeting was discussion on common utilities, landscape buffering and design, building architecture and aesthetics, the area designated for future road development to be performed by the town of Southbury, traffic impacts, emergency management, stone wall preservation, ingress and egress for commercial building, neighborhood impacts, Department of Public Health application, etc. That's it.
Thank you. All right, so we do have some more business.
Make a motion to continue the public hearing.
Well, it's by agreement, but yeah, do I hear a motion to continue, keep the public hearing open? Okay, any second?
A second.
Anyone opposed? All right, it's unanimous. Thank you. So we have some new business. I don't know if they're still here. We'll find out. Application 26101Z, PD number 8, amendment number 27, modification of detailed plans for 775 Main Street South. Mr. Jason Arias, applicant, seeking approval for reconfiguration of door and windows for a new restaurant business, Southbury Social. I don't know if he's still here. Come on up. Thank you.
Jason, just turn on your microphone.
How are you all? My name is Jason. I just moved into the old Monty's Chips place. I have a couple restaurants, one being Brookfield Social. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with that. It's in Brookfield by Costco. We've been there over a year now, and we're looking to open up our second location here, Southbury Social. I'm here today because when we open a new restaurant, we like to do a full renovation. So we're going to do a lot of work there. It's going to be a whole new other layout. Kitchen will probably remain the same, but we're looking to change the front door, which is now essentially in the middle, and we're trying to push it more towards the patio to better suit the whole flow of the restaurant, being that the unit is kind of like a long, in a sense, a hallway. So we moved the door to the left a little bit, still keeping the integrity of the plaza, same door design, windows, everything exactly the same, just repositioning the door so that the entrance is, we came up with some drawings, if you guys want to kind of see.
Sure.
There's a couple, but that's the front of the building.
Okay. Deandra, any opinion from your side?
So I had been coordinating with them because based on the presented documents, we didn't have this elevation as clearly depicted, and it wasn't necessarily telling the full picture. The concerns that I have are ensuring that the divided light cuts would be matching with what was previously there and what still is there. And I do have a question. It says that you're gonna be relocating the door.
Getting a
Is
new,
it relocating new?
brand new. We'll get the same person that they use, and it'll just be a brand new. Everything in the restaurant is gonna be brand new. So you won't be able to tell the difference. You know, we're not gonna.
You're not repurposing.
No, the door will look exactly the same. It'll be white with the windows. It's not gonna be anything, different. So.
Will it look strange from the front since it's designed so well so that a door is clearly in the center? And you're putting the door off to the side of the entire building?
So I think, so where the bench is right now, the existing door.
Oh, it's over there. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's on, so it's not really in the center, it's more towards
Yeah,
the right.
I thought I was in center. I take back my comment. Okay. Yeah, no, I take that back. Okay. So Deandra, your only concern here is, what was it, elevation?
So it was the divided light cut. So based on this rendering, I am more comfortable seeing it at this scale, as though the proposed door and windows are aligning with the same design as the windows that are currently there. So you've got the same rectangle, divided light cuts within that overall window.
Okay.
And just for the record, your signage is proposed in the same location.
Yeah.
That signage was previously established, and nothing changes
Correct.
regarding that
Okay.
flow
Yeah.
or design?
Yeah, it'll look exactly the same,
Yeah,
except,
thank you.
yeah.
So you're okay with that?
Yeah, if you guys
Should we make a motion?
Maybe we should.
Is that, are you asking me to make a motion? Okay, all right, make a motion to approve the, let me read it right. The application, number 26-101, that,
I second.
okay, there we go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
It was worth
Okay.
the wait.
All right, yeah.
Sorry.
First time doing this, so I was like, all right.
Well, you got a master class in it today.
If you want, we could ask
Yeah,
for
yeah,
public
yeah,
comment.
right.
I'm kidding.
That's right. We
I
have
have
to,
good points, I get it. so.
Yeah.
But it's past my bedtime, so I gotta go home.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
welcome to town.
Yeah, we're busy right now at the
Yeah.
other place, but it's all good.
So there's some old business, but I think for some reason or another, it's not going forward.
Thank you, Jason, you're all
Yeah,
set.
thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
So 774, she has requested that we continue to table this. She had medical issues where she was unable to provide the documents that were requested, so she's still working on providing those.
It's across the street.
Across the street.
Do we need a motion
This is
for that
the-
and a vote?
Nope.
No, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's that building that they're, looks like a farmhouse building that they've been renovating.
Correct.
Okay, so that brings us to the next piece. Application 26047, PD 22, Amendment Number 4. This was the,
Mm-hmm.
Southbury Self-Storage.
yeah, this was the plow guys took off the curbing.
They put more.
And they added some.
Paved
And they
area, and then they
accidentally
took the
added-
curbing out, and then there was the one tree, like the singular tree that was like, they weren't gonna
Correct.
take it down.
They were gonna take it.
I
on
would
hold
like
for
to make a
new.
motion to also approve that one. Anyone second it?
I second that.
There we go.
We,
I was ready last week, if I'm being honest. I was ready last month. Do you guys have anything that we need to discuss?
Yeah, is there anything else that we need to know about that?
We have a motion and a second. This is a fine time to have a discussion anyway. It's perfectly acceptable. No, you're
We
fine.
already seconded.
but we,
We're ready to go.
just the, like, where we left off, like, it was, we had a discussion on this last time, right?
We left
did.
it open, there was no
Yep.
additional public comment, right? We left it open for public comment? Because we were
No, it's
worried.
not a public hearing.
Why do we leave it open for 30 days?
It was based on the timeline for when it was received and the commission having a
Oh,
proper amount of
we, the
time to
commission asked for
understand
more
the
time.
application
Just- Okay, I'm
beforehand.
sorry. Got it. I don't need any more
Do
time.
you have a second on the table?
Okay,
We take a vote.
yeah, let's. All in favor?
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We're going to put off the comprehensive zoning regulation rewrite.
It's still moving forward.
Oh, I know it is, but we're not going to get into it
No,
tonight.
there's nothing to discuss today. No,
Okay, good.
I'm working on the drafts of a couple finalized sections.
And before we get to the Affordable Housing Subcommittee,
There's no update there.
okay. We did receive a letter dated June 9th to all parties this may concern. I, Martin Ludorf, regretfully notifies the town of Southbury that I must resign from my position on the Southbury Zoning Commission effective today, July 9th, 2026. Kind regards, Marty Ludorf.
Yesterday, as of yesterday.
So Mark, just for,
Did I say July? I said June.
I heard June.
So, sad to say, Marty has resigned. His service was much appreciated, and his knowledge and depth of knowledge of the town is going to be hard to replace, obviously.
Thank you, Marty, for listening in.
Do we have any correspondence other than Marty's letter? Okay, D. Andrea.
So zoning officers report, been working through existing non-compliances, I've been getting them, some of them achieved. We do have the 71 Kiev that is still ongoing, they've been unresponsive, we've had them hand-delivered citations through the US Marshal, and they are still unresponsive to that. So we're just really working our best to try and get in communication with them regarding this so that the fines don't continue to add up and we can get compliance.
Thank you for the update.
That's my update.
Well, what other recourse do we have?
Yeah, that's the next logical
Yeah,
question,
like,
right?
What can we do? Will they be arrested? Like, what happens?
I think you put a lien on the house. Once the fines get to a level of which you can do that, the town can put a lien on the house based on fines and taxes, and then.
We already did that.
Yeah.
No, we would bring
No,
that
we
before the
just
commission.
started finding them. We haven't put a
No,
lien.
we have a prior judgment.
Oh, for this same
File
address?
judgment, yeah, but regardless, the
Oh.
commission would be kept abreast of any legal ramifications that the town wanted to go through in order to address this violation. You would ultimately be the controlling commission, setting the standard for what avenue we wanted to go through to assert compliance, and we would work with town council to ensure that that gets done.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I love the fact that, you know, we don't want to be nasty. But on the other hand, we don't want to keep DeAndrea spinning her wheels, doing the same thing, same thing, same thing. That's not productive for her,
So in
for
the
us.
interest of the meeting in this time, if the commission is looking for the town and the land use office to work with town council to address what next steps need to be taken, why don't we just put that to a motion second and an all in favor? And what we will do in the coming month is work with town council to address what our options are, bring those options to you in July, and then the commission can decide what legal remedy they want to actually march down, and we'll start that process.
That sounds logical. Got a motion with a second?
You're the motion?
Yes.
Excellent.
And second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
That's what we'll do.
good plan, thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Okay,
That's just to bring a proposal to the
yeah.
commission to make a
assessment
determination.
of
Yeah.
options. Minutes from May 13th, any questions or corrections? Sonia stands by her minutes.
Sonia, I appreciate that note there.
I
So,
did actually correct it on the minutes and also made it in the previous minutes, so.
got your name right this time?
There we go.
Absolutely,
Wait,
okay.
wait, does it, yeah, it's right.
All right, so if we're all in favor of approving those minutes?
All right.
Yeah? Okay. Corrections or amplifications? No, we got that. Bills and receipts? All right, the resignation letter. Oh, yes, we read it in.
Yep, so we read that one in, and then we've also got our special meeting on Tuesday, July 14th, and that's at 4 PM in this room, and that's going to be for the discussion of the rewrite.
Do we know, we expecting that to take a long time? I'm just wondering why it's 4 o'clock. Some of us have, full-time jobs.
Huh?
I said, I'm wondering if you think that's going to take a long time, because 4 o'clock is just, it's hard to make happen.
If you
On
can't-
Tuesday?
Yeah, that's the time when we talked to the commission last that they agreed on.
Okay. That works for everybody else?
But no, I mean.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to take
As
like
far
5
as, like,
hours?
the-
Like if we start at 6, could we do 6 to 8? I'm sorry.
I mean, we scheduled
I'll
four, and
make
we
it work.
scheduled four with the
Okay, I'll make it work.
consultant too. If
Okay.
ultimately the commissioners can't make four, we can try and work out a different date and time. But we wanted to jump ahead early to give you guys as preemptive notice for the July meeting, special meeting, because people go on vacation. We just wanted to make sure everyone had that info early on. So that's why we set that meeting for that date and time. It also just makes it a little more advantageous because people don't have to spend their entire evening doing what we're doing right now and might be able to go home and enjoy their dinner with their spouses and family.
Wishful thinking.
Don't count on it tonight, but
No,
either way,
no, sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
that was at least the thinking, but
Okay, all right, good. I thought maybe it was like, let's do 4 because we might be here for
no.
6
No.
hours
No,
or
it's not it,
something.
No,
Okay,
This is the longest meeting you guys should be at.
thanks.
don't you ever jinx us like that.
Okay. Cat's out of the bag now. Are we all set?
Got a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Second? Any opposed? Okay.